Welcome to the Art and Science of Complex Sales, sponsored by Membrane. This season, we're diving deep into the 3 T's of developing scalable sales organizations: talent, transformation, and technology. We're bringing together sales leaders from around the world to help you elevate your organizations and crush B2B revenue goals. So smash that like button, subscribe, and ensure you don't miss an episode. So how often have you asked somebody, "Hey, how you doing?" And in response, you get an actual heartfelt and enthusiastic, "I've never been better." Today, we're diving into an incredible story. Chris Wallace, who's CEO and founder of Saratoga Sales Consulting, takes us into his journey of transformation. He walks us through how he decided early on in his sales career to live with a mindset of positive perseverance, how this impacted him in sales, and more importantly, how this helped him with the greatest fight of his life. This was a fight of life and death against cancer, where he had a prognosis of 4 months to live. The episode is a little different today, and I'm thankful for it. Let's get started with Chris. Christopher Wallace, welcome to the program. How the heck are you?
I have never been better, Paul.
Yes.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, I got it. And man, the reason that you are on the program and I'm so excited for today is I saw you at the Objective Management Group conference and you said, I asked you that question and you said, never been better. And I asked you the question before and you've said, never been better. And I love your mindset and your journey. And so I want to talk to people about that. I really want to get that out there. And I think it's so helpful for salespeople. Hey, do you mind going into a little bit about your journey in sales, where you got started, how you got started, when you got started, and when did you start this mindset journey that you're on?
Okay, great. Thanks. Perfect. Be glad to. My journey really started back early in my sales career. I had great mentors, and I worked with some very successful people. My boss, who was VP of sales at a company called the Interface Group, reported into Sheldon Adelson, who ended up being very successful after being bankrupt twice. And he ended up dying recently with a $35 billion net worth. And his wife ended up actually just buying Mark Cuban out of the Dallas Mavericks. That just happened within the past year. So, it was a pretty cool time because back then I didn't learn directly from Sheldon. I talked to him, but my boss was Mike Kalan. But it really just seeped into me that when things don't go right, you need to hang in there. And every salesperson, to be successful, needs this mindset. And I know you're going to agree with me once I say it, Paul, because it all comes down to having a short memory in sales. If things don't go right, you have to have a short memory and either pick up the phone or do whatever sales activity you need to do to become successful. And I had such great mentors there, and we did quite well. And then I went to Dun & Bradstreet, and they had a division called Dunn's Marketing Services, and my job was to call on the large accounts like I did at the Interface Group and try to sell them marketing programs. They were lead generation programs. It was data, analysis, all those types of products. I had another great mentor. I'll call him Joe. Joe was great. He was the top salesperson in the entire company. He was out of LA. I worked out of the Fullerton, California office, and he really taught me a real lot. And again, he had a short memory. I saw him get rejected so many times on calls because he took me on them, and he just forgot all about it and hung in there. So that really made an impression on me. And after that, I became a district sales manager at Dun & Bradstreet. And I ran there, actually the only telephone sales district. They moved me to New Jersey. I had 20 salespeople directly reporting into me. And they were all relatively young, except a few experienced ones who were killing it. And that's where I first started coaching people on having short memory. All right. And to worry about what you can control. That's the words I started using. And I think I heard them somewhere else, but I don't know where. But that's when I started using the term worry about what you can control and focus on what you can control. The more modern version of that now is called control the controllables. All right. I've become a certified coach, and that's one of the courses I had to take. But more important to me is not only focusing on what you can control, but it's a discipline to make yourself not worry about what you can control. For example, Say you're a salesperson, okay? You have a new boss. You don't really connect too well with them. Well, guess what? You still have to hit your number, okay? So you need to do the activity to make it successful. So you have to throw that aside and focus on your goals. Or it could be a product that you're not really into that you have to sell. Well, guess what? You still have to go out and sell it, even though you're not into it. Or else you have to find the revenue somewhere else, whatever the right move is on that. But you have to worry about what you can control and remove the stuff that's a distraction. Does that make sense?
That makes perfect sense. And so what are some tips then that you'd give to a salesperson? It's a great term, control the controllables. I hear you talking about persistence and positivity. Those are the two words that come to my head. The first one is that grit. The second one is how I wade through that muck, or how I continue to persevere and control the attitude. I think those are two completely different things, but they're both intensely critical, not just in sales, but in life. So having walked this in sales for a long time and coached a bunch of people, what are some of the tips and tricks that you tell people?
Well, the attitude, it's part self-discipline, part by success, I'll tell them, and you have to make your own success. But the other thing is you really do need to live a healthy lifestyle, all right? If you come in hungover, all right, that's depression right there. I highly recommend exercising. I like to exercise before I went to work. Do a little weight training or a little running or whatever it is. Just get the blood flowing before you get to work. And that just gives you a much fresher mind. That's what I did. But whatever activities you do, whether it's even a hobby or going out for a walk or something that sets you up right, you do that. And if you're having a rough time while you're at the office, take a break. Be aware that you're having a rough time and things are going to get better. All right. But, controlling your attitude is a discipline. As we all know in sales, particularly OMG folks, there's only a certain type of person who is successful in sales. And if you're one of those, you need to be able to get through this and you have the right tools. So you find a mentor. All right. If you have a sales manager or a president, if you're a senior executive, talk to that person, get on the right track, whatever you need to do. But the big thing is be aware, the awareness that you can get it done. And not every moment of your life is going to be easy. So again, push aside. You have to have that knowledge. It's a huge discipline. It took me a long time to acquire this. It really did to get to the point where I am now. But I'm old now. So, but it's the awareness and you get better and better at it. And actually when you become a leader and you start coaching other people on it, and they get it, that's also extra oomph. It just reinforces what you already believe.
I talked to a guy yesterday. His name, I don't know if you met Hervé Humbert. He's from France. I don't know if you met him at the OMG conference, but I had a great conversation with him yesterday, and he was talking about this wheel of behavior. And it's like really and you just summed it up there, where it's, do I have the discipline to create or to do the behaviors that help me better control my attitude, right? And if I don't even identify those, then it's a really hard thing to do, right? So that first self-identification, which you talked about, is even just having like 2 or 3 things that just help you get your mind right and doing them with consistency.
Right.
And then making that continual decision. It's why I love your line, never been better. And so tell me a little bit about how that came, because to me, that's a trigger. It's a reminder. It's something that I need to say to focus myself on. This is the truth. I am going to bring my best to right now. How did you grab onto that and start to use that in your consulting business?
Well, I was already using it before my consulting business. But not every time I talked to someone, because, I didn't have clients then. I had people working in my staff or customers I was going to visit with. So from a consulting standpoint, I realized that you have to open, whether it's a consulting call or a coaching call, they're really both to me. Consulting and coaching are the same thing, because I coach usually senior executives on strategy and all that, as well as some of their employees. So I had to have an opening line, and that was it. I've used it in the past before, and I always got good results. So that became a discipline as far as working with salespeople, sales executives, CEOs, other folks I may work with my client, and it's just very effective.
Mm-hmm. Why do you think that is?
It's a positive. You have to open up every meeting with a positive. If you say you have really something difficult to discuss, and who hasn't been in that situation? You know, I have. I mean, I've had, as a company, going through some of these recessions was pretty brutal when you're, in charge of sales and marketing or the company itself. So you have to go into those meetings, and you can't be all doom and gloom. So you have to come in with a positive attitude, all right, saying, look, we have a great staff here. We have great products, great services, and we need to just focus on what we need to get done, and we'll get through this. And that's so common. I mean, that's common in every single meeting when you have a tough discussion. That should be in every single meeting, all right? And you have to be positive, smiling. Now, I don't think it's right to go into something like that and say never be better if things are really tough. You need to acknowledge that, but also acknowledge how you're going to get out of it, and that you have the right people, the right products, the right delivery mechanisms, whatever it is you need to be successful. But on these coaching calls or consulting meetings, you don't talk to the people all the time. All right. So when you're opening a meeting, that's just my greeting, and it became effective. So I stuck with it, and I love it.
So you're in tough situations. All that. How does gratitude, and this is maybe a complete right turn for your left turn, whatever it may be, but how does gratitude play a part in that in terms of saying it and meaning it?
Gratitude has to be sincere, by the way. If you're not grateful, it comes out fake. That's what I believe anyhow.
Amen. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. But again, it's part of the same mindset is focusing on what you can control, not worrying about what you can control. The whole never been better is a root of that. The whole control the controllables things. And gratitude is just, it's another mindset. And I don't know how to give advice on it other than find some things that you're grateful about in your life. Okay. And be grateful for them. All right. After my recent experiences, quite honestly, material goods and all that stuff is pretty much meaningless to me.
This never been better for you took on an incredibly different meaning over the past couple of years. And why don't you just dive into that journey? Because it's inspirational.
Okay. I guess what I'll do is I'll discuss the journey I had with cancer.
All
right. I didn't even go to the doctor much until recently, and I was really healthy. I felt strong. Kept in shape. 61-year-old guy. I was fine, and I got jaundice in right around Thanksgiving, 2021, and I finally went to the hospital on it in December, and I felt lousy, just terrible. So I went into the ER, and 12 hours later, I found out I had pancreatic cancer. It's crazy. All right. Here I was, never, ever expecting anything. Never, ever. No history of cancer in my family that I knew of. And I went in thinking maybe gallbladder, or something. And I had pancreatic cancer. So that kind of floored me. I had this blockage also. And it was due to the tumor in my pancreas that was blocking the flow of the nasty stuff that goes through your pancreas into your bowel. And that's why I got jaundiced, because it was backing up and none of it was passing through. So I got that, and they actually, it's amazing. It was Saratoga Hospital. I didn't, that I went to because I live in Saratoga Springs, New York. And they have this guru, this doctor, gastroenterology, who fixed me. He actually drilled a hole in the stent to cure that, so it started draining. He took a photo of, I'm not doing it in the right order, by the way. He took a photo of my lymph nodes and the pancreas and the cancer and other stuff. And he also took a sample of where he thought I had cancer. Okay. And this is kind of crazy. I woke up because they put you to sleep. And there's the doctor right at the foot of my cot, whatever you want to call it, those rollaway beds. And he told me I had cancer. He was very professional about it. And I said, well, we'll know better when the biopsy comes back. And I'm still coming out of the fog. And he says, no, you have cancer. So that was crazy to hear that. I didn't expect it. No expectation at all. So that wore off, and I started contemplating in my hospital room, and I got really sad, like really sad. I think I cried a little bit. I felt depressed. I'm not qualified to say I was depressed. I'm not a doctor, but I felt depressed. But I realized that, and I realized that the way I was feeling was stuff I couldn't control. I had no control of that. And I literally thought of my business experience, my sales experience and my business experience. The whole control the controllables things I've been coaching about for 7 years prior to this and telling throughout my career. And don't worry about what you can control. That just set in. 6 hours after I was sad, I was fine. I wasn't sad, wasn't scared. I was fine. Okay. Not glad I had cancer, but it was under control. I realized I just had to do what I had to do. So here's strange, and I think most of us can relate to this. All right. For example, Paul, have you ever thought how you'd respond if you ever had cancer? Has that ever gone through your mind?
No.
Wow. You're a unique person to me, because most people I have that conversation with. And if we have listeners, I ask you, have you ever thought how you'd respond if you ever had cancer? Just think about that. You don't know how you're going to respond, because I thought
I'd know. I guess if I think about it right now, I have no idea. I have no idea. I'd like to have an idea. I'd like to think that I would. Now that you put it in my head, I'd like to think that I could be positive. I could be grateful for what I have. It's just how to figure out how to move forward.
Yeah. I agree, that thought process. I didn't think I'd have the strength or anything like that. I didn't dwell on it, obviously, because I didn't think I was going to get cancer. But I had that thought because I have friends who passed all the way back to age 19. So anyhow, I didn't fold. I mean, it was like I wasn't sad. I wasn't scared. And this is all a surprise to me. And the message of this, and I actually have a T-shirt under my shirt that says, you're stronger than you think. I have it. But I didn't want to.
You can do a Superman thing right now to show people if you want.
All right. I will.
Yes. Yes. I love it. Yep. Yes, sir. Never give up. You're stronger than you think. Never give up.
Yep. So I actually wore that shirt to a Grateful Dead remake concert. That was like my first time out. And everyone else was wearing Grateful Dead shirts outdoors, in the July. And but I had all these other T-shirts too that I think is actually something that I really want to share with you folks, because once I realized, I'm going to back up. I'm sorry. I have to back up, because what I wanted to do is also share with you folks that I learned from my oncologist. My oncologist, I visited him for the first time. First visit I ever had with him before it was over, he said, I should get my affairs together. I thought I was going to die in 4 months. Okay.
Wow. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I sold my truck. It was a new truck, had my will done, contacted friends and family to spend time or speak with them. But at the same time, I set myself free. What am I going to lose? Okay. And I was just talking to a very good friend of mine, and he's a physician down in Virginia Beach. He's an amazing guy. And he actually gave me a lot of counseling on all this, someone to talk to anyhow. And, he shared my story, because what I told him when I was going through this, that the first few months that I was going through chemo was the happiest period of my life. He said to me that he shared that story with several of his patients, and they also said, cancer patients, that they felt the same way. When they first found out they were cancer and they were going to die, they thought they were going to die, they were very happy. And the whole thing is there, I guess that's being grateful for the time I had on this planet, that I had remaining here, grateful for it. Okay. And right around then, after visiting my oncologist, I found it had spread to my lymph nodes. I was actually at my attorney's office getting my will done when I got a call from from the hospital telling me that it had spread to my lymph nodes. And my attorney left the room. I did cry a little bit, but I handled it. Took me half hour maybe to handle it, and then I was good. And my attorney still reminds me of that. She's the one who created my will for me and did some other stuff. But anyhow, I'm free. So I started going to the chemo sessions. And right before I went to my first chemo sessions, my good friend and former client of 4.5 years, KK, that's his nickname, sent me this T-shirt, and it said "Faith and Fight" in Greek. Okay. And he sent that to me. One of the reasons he sent that to me is his brother George had cancer. So he flew out to Madison, Wisconsin area and helped his brother run the business. And I have the sales and marketing background. He's an operations guy. So I provided my consulting services for free to him, And so actually I became pretty good, tight with his brother George too. But he sent me that shirt and it said "Faith and Fight" in Greek on it. And I wore that to my first chemo. So that became my theme, faith and fight. My first chemo session, Faith and Fight won, and I posted on Facebook. I didn't tell anyone I had cancer. People eventually figured it out. And I have a picture that someone took of me in my house, wearing it with a scally cap, because that's kind of me. I'm known for wearing a scally cap. And so then I decided to do it. I got over 170 responses by people on Facebook. All encouraging, even though they didn't know what the heck was going on. Some saying, "What's going on?" But I didn't answer them. Then the second one, I had another message. My friend Seth actually had a patient who had cancer. And for anyone who understands Red Sox in Fenway Park, there's a Citgo sign that's right behind the left field wall, the green monster. And that's actually a National Historic Landmark. And that's really like a symbol of Boston now. So he sent me out a shirt. It's had the Citgo sign saying "strong" under it. So that means Boston Strong. And his patient was selling these because he sold that type of stuff. And he sent them to me for free because I had cancer. So I wore that to my second one. I had another one that said "Never give up." I had another one that said "You're stronger than you think." One that I started feeling good now. I was by the fifth chemo session, the doctor said he was optimistic. Because I was actually putting on weight, which is unprecedented. I'm very lucky. I'm grateful. Okay. I'm not bragging. This is a story I'm sharing with you. All right. I didn't even think I'd be alive right now. But he was very optimistic. So that was pretty cool. So the next chemo session, I started getting humorous. And I went, fighting cancer, going through chemo, and still this sexy. And I had that on my shirt. Now I posted all these on Facebook. Okay. So now some of my friends call me, they call me just sexy to joke, to bust me. So anyhow, we went 1 through 8 on that. And I always posted the comments I got. Quite honestly, not only did it help me, but there's so many people told me that inspired them because they figured out, people started talking, then they all started learning what was wrong with me. And I had pancreatic cancer and I had that attitude. And this was on all planned. This just happened. I thought I'd be dead by now, and, but I look back at it and it helped so much, that whole attitude and making a game of it and never been better, being grateful for what I had. Paul, all those things. And what's crazy about that, I think I truly believe I really acquired that from my business experience.
I mean, what's incredible to me about this story is that there's like a juxtaposition, right? Is a lot of times we say, yeah, we got to have a positive mental attitude and we have to persevere in sales and or persevere in our career and that type of stuff. And then we don't really necessarily fully embrace that until we go through crazy times, right? And gain that freedom. Why do you think that is? I mean, I think you embraced it. But you lived it through your cancer, and you inspired so many through that. Why do you think that is? That it really tends to shine in these times that are really rough.
I wish I had an answer for that, but also, and I think all the prayers I got from a lot of people helped me a lot. I think the support network that I had, and I reached out for some of this. There were people I hadn't spoken to in years. I thought they should know. I think if you a lot of people I've spoken to never told anyone about it, and that's okay too. Everyone deals with it in their own way. But I'm talking about me, and it helped me. It helped me be grateful. Just knowing other people were in it with me. That's really it. Quite honestly, it was that. And then all the other stuff we already covered. Okay.
Yeah.
And just being alive, that feeling I mentioned to you, and I don't know how to explain it because it just happened, of the happiest time of your life being the last few months you thought you were going to live. I don't know how to explain that. It just happens. And my doctor friend reinforced that, says that happens to a lot of cancer patients.
Yeah. I wonder. I really do wonder. It's just the lesson to me is never been better, right? Is just to keep building that habit, because it's so, and building that mindset and working that, because it's so important. And one of the things you told me when we were together is just how you think that mindset really got you through and helped you heal, as well as the prayers, everything, but just being able to hold on to that really just helped you through.
Yeah, again, it all goes back to control the controllables. And I can't emphasize this more, because when I've been trained a lot in the control the controllables, 3 different organizations, trained me on that concept. But what they don't focus on enough is how to push away the worry part of it. Okay? Because you have to push away the worry to focus on what you can control. But you also have to be conscious of it, So all I can say, it's a discipline. It was a discipline, and it's not easy. It was actually pretty easy this time, but to push it away, because it was just a decision I made in the hospital. But, other stuff that happens in your life, whether it's family or other things you cannot control, that you have to live with, that's just a discipline, I believe.
Yeah.
And it's when I know it comes with discipline, and I'm sorry to interrupt you.
No.
Though. You have to have this awareness, folks. Push aside the worries. Okay. You have to deal with them maybe, but push them aside when you have to focus on what you can control. And all you can control is really your attitude and your activities. That's it.
Hey, I'm sure you've read The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, that Stephen Covey book. He tells a story in that book that has affected me my whole life. My whole life since after I read that book. So I think I read it when I was about 22. But with his son, that he put a rubber band on his son's arm, and every time his son would have it wasn't necessarily a negative thought, but it was essentially along those lines. Like, he trained his son to, he's like, we're going to get through this. They were going through a rough time. Every time, I want you to take this rubber band, just snap yourself. Just say, it's going to give you awareness. So every time you're feeling X, Y, and Z, every time you have a worry creep in, and that awareness that you're talking about it's a gift, man. And it's a discipline, and it's a gift, and it's inspiring. And you being able to do that. Well, thank God that you were able to do that. I'm so blessed to have you on here and just sharing your story. But it's incredible. And to gather that and to push forward and control your attitude and activities is.
Yeah. Paul, I thought I was going to die in like 4 or 5 months, whatever it was. I was thinking 4 months in my head. I was cancer-free 7 months later. And
Wow.
The medical community has never seen that. Okay. My friend I told you about down in Virginia Beach, Saratoga Hospital, who actually cured me, which I didn't go to the Boston hospitals, and I'm from there. I had a lot of contacts there. And I'm now being studied by Dana-Farber Cancer Research Center. All right. And the director of clinical research for gastrointestinal cancer, Dr. Clary, has never met anyone either with my results. So, again, they tried experimental immunotherapy on me, and it worked. Okay. Here's another thing. Focus on what you can control. I had like a $250,000 hospital bill because the insurance company didn't approve those treatments. But I wasn't worried about it. I was going to die. Why would I worry about it? There was enough money left over that if they went after it, they could pay it. So, but once I was cured, that most of that debt went away, because how can't they accept it? It worked. So after that, Paul, I got really sick. The drugs that saved my life almost killed me.
Wow. Okay.
So yeah, the next 6 months was much harder than anything I went through for chemo. And I got really sick. I was hospitalized 5 times, twice for 3 nights and a couple times overnight, one in and out. And they were worried about my whole autoimmune system was out of control because the immunotherapy drug allowed my immune system to recognize cancer because it doesn't normally happen, but it did. But it didn't shut off, so it was attacking everything. And I came down with a really bad case of colitis. And my oncologist and a few other doctors were worried about my colon bursting, which would have killed me. They finally got it under control. All right. And I'm 6'3" and I weighed 163 pounds about
Oh my gosh.
about 18 months ago. Okay. And, I'm 40 pounds heavier than that now, 42 pounds heavier than that now. So, yeah, it almost killed me. And that was actually harder. Quite honestly, the whole never been better concept and not giving up, man, that was painful. It was everything. And I held on. And I thought of giving up a couple times, actually, but I didn't. That didn't last too long.
That's a remarkable story. And thank you for sharing it because it's going to impact a whole lot of people. And it just points out that when we talk about these things in the sales context or a life context, it truly is. It's true. I mean, it helps you get through the hardest things in life, and the things that are true help you get through the hardest things in life.
I actually used to be embarrassed by the hospital staff and the staff at the various doctor's office calling me the miracle man, but that's what they called me. Or the golden boy.
I love it.
Yeah, it was kind of weird too,
Yeah, well, I emailed you. That's kind of funny because I emailed you to set up this podcast.
Yeah.
And I said the title of it was Miracle Man. So I didn't even know that. You didn't tell me that before.
Yeah.
But you had told me this story and I was I was so excited about it and for you to be able to share it that that was the title of the email.
So I believe in miracles. Very lucky.
Well,
grateful.
And I believe in miracles. I believe in the power of just staying positive in that training. And if it can get you through this, it can absolutely help in anything for sales, and it's one of those things that it's like transforming your mind to be able to discipline yourself to do that is guys like Napoleon Hill wrote about it, long time ago, but you don't see very many examples of people that actually do it.
I'm still now trying to move forward with my career.
Mm-hmm.
When I saw the head of research at Dana-Farber, I asked him, I says, how do I get through this chemo brain, this chemo fog I have, which was in February of this year? And he says, I don't know. People don't usually last this long. So it's really, I'm on a journey that there's no direction, but it's amazing. I mean, a year ago, I couldn't remember if I let the dog out. Okay. And how you get all those codes that you have to get from your bank or whatever to log in? I couldn't remember those codes a year ago. So now it's easy. My memory's fine and all that stuff, and I'm coming around. So now I am getting my consulting business going. I have some activity going on, and I'm really excited about it. And that's probably my ultimate goal. It's not even the money, but to, come out of pancreatic cancer. I think I was going to die once. I think I might die a second time. And then getting a business going again, because I'm starting all over again after 7 years of being a business consultant and getting it going. That would be really cool to me. Okay. That's what I want. And, I'll make some money, but that's not really what I'm focused on. Although I'm going to charge for my services, But again, it's really the accomplishment.
Well, hey man, how do people take you up on that? So how do they reach out to you and get in touch if they listen to this and want to learn more?
If they can email me, my Chris at cwsaratoga.com. I live in Saratoga Springs. Again, okay. Chris at cwsaratoga.com. Or you can go to my website, saratogasalesconsulting.com. Either one.
Okay.
And all my contact information is there.
Fantastic. Well, we'll make sure to post that with the episode. And and I just, again, I want to thank you. I think I've done it like 4 times. I'm going to continue to. I'm going to send you a thank you note. I'm going to add never been better to my repertoire of mindset, right? It's just mindset, how we control that.
No.
Yeah, how we move forward and positivity. And controlling that attitude and our actions, because it does great things. And I'm so thankful for you providing that story and that example to everybody today.
Hey, I really appreciate you letting me share this message, because if it can help folks, I'm all for it. Just keep fighting and be positive.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, everybody, thank you so much to Chris. Thank you for everyone for listening. Just have an amazing day today. Keep shining bright, and make sure you like this episode, share this episode, get it out there, spread the message. Let's focus on how we can make somebody else shine bright today, and bring that to them.
Yeah.
And Chris, again, thank you so much. We'll talk to you all later.
Oh, thank you. It was fun. So yeah, nice to see you again too.
Nice to see you. All righty. Talk soon. Thank you so much for joining us today on the Art and Science of Complex Sales. Please take a moment, subscribe, share this podcast on all your favorite platforms, and let's get the word out. This podcast is proud to be brought to you by Membrane.com. We are the world's top B2B sales platform. And in the world of B2B sales, with everything from prospecting to business acquisition to managing complex growth, Membrane has the right size technology for your sales team. Our latest innovation, the Coaching Cockpit, empowers your leaders, managers, and team with the information and tools they need to take their skills to the next level and to take advantage of the exponential power of effective sales coaching. With our technology and the top team of sales partners around the world, Membrane is helping to achieve our driving vision. This is, quite simply, elevating the sales profession. To learn more, find us at www.membrane.com. That is membrain.com, or contact us via email at sales@membrane.com. Keep shining bright and have a wonderful day.